Well, if you've ever heard the expression egg on your face, I'm kind of coming to you with egg on my face because I made two mistakes in the final exam review. So here are to correct them. First one was on number 4. I did almost everything correctly, just wasn't careful with transferring information one part of the problem to the other. So here I'm going to rework that again. 27 to the 4/3. So first we have to recognize that when we have a fraction and an exponent, for example, 27 to the 1/3, that means the cube root of 27. In other words, something to the third power equals 27. In the same way that if I said the square root of 16 means what times itself is 16. What squared is 16? That's 4. So this cube root of 27 is 3. Now, knowing that, we can apply the properties of exponents, which is when we have 27 to the 4/3, that means it's 27 to the 1/3 to the 4th power. So we get this property from noting that if I have, for example, any number squared and then I raise that to the 3rd power, that means what's inside this parentheses to the 3rd power 3 times. So you can see that's x, 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 6 x's multiplied together. In other words, that's x to the 2 times 3. So x to the 2 times 3 is what we get because we have an exponent on an exponent. So here we can use that property to say, well, 4/3 is the same as 4 times 1/3, so I can split these out, right? It's almost like factoring, where we say what multiplied together to get this. So in order to do that, then, so the result of that is that we can just take the cube root of 27. Now, you could also do that. It does equal 27 to the 4th to the 1/3. That's true. If you figure that out in your calculator, 27 to the 4th is a very large number. Take the cube root, you'll get the same answer. But I'm going to use this. 27 to the 1/3 is 3 to the 4th. That's 81. Now here's where I made a mistake. I went over here, I say, okay, so the first number is, and I wrote 3. It's not, it's 81. So 4 to the 3/2, similar process. We say, okay, to the 1/2 means take the square root of 4 and then raise it to the 3rd power. So that's 2 to the 3rd power, or 8. So 81 plus 8 is 89. That is our correct answer for number 3. I'll move that over so you can see. Okay, then the other problem was the problem I gave you on number 30. So I'm just skipping over to number 30. And actually, to make this work out to a real answer, the way I had it before, plus 5 equals 3, that's actually going to give you a square root of a negative. So it's not going to give you any real answers. That's a mathematical term. It's not a real number answer. So what I told you in class, and what I want you to do if you're looking at this, is just change this to look like this. If you do that, this is how the process works. So we subtract 5 from both sides. That gives us 5x squared minus 4x minus 2. Why do we do that? Well, remember that our zero product property allows us to calculate what does x equal, because it uses the property that if I have something times something else, that equals 0. So we use this zero product property as a way to solve when we're factoring, and also as a way to set up our quadratic formula. So a equals 5, b equals -4, and c equals -2. And you remember the quadratic formula, x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. If you don't remember, all over 2a. If you don't remember the quadratic formula, then you need to make sure that's on your formula sheet for the final exam. For the final exam. Okay, so we've identified A, B, and C. So to apply the quadratic formula, x equals, I think I did this before, sometimes it's helpful so you don't have to think about it when you're putting in the formula to remember that because it starts off with negative b, that we could invert the sign here. So if b is negative 4, then negative b would be 4. So this means that negative b is 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared negative 4 squared. And the mistake I made is I squared it in my head and I put 16 and then I put the square brackets around it. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. So if I calculate all this, I'm going to put this over 2 times 10, or 2 times 5, almost did that again. 2 times 5, which is 10. X equals 4 plus or minus, and then it's going to be the square root of something. So this is 16, negative 4 times negative 4. And then 4 times 5 is 20, times 2 is 40, but it's a negative times a negative, so it's plus 40. All over 10. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 56 over 10. And what we've done in the course so far is worked on approximating these things with decimals. So this is either 4 plus 7.48 over 10 or 4 minus 7.48 over 10. So over 10 is going to shift the decimal. So this is either 1.15 or negative 0.35. All right, so there are your corrections. I'm going to put these notes and links in the original YouTube videos to direct you to these. Good luck on your final exam. Remember, those Khan Academy assignments are going to help you practice the concepts and also practice the precision, because they're going to make you get every step right. And that's going to be important on a final exam where a lot of the wrong answers that are going to be given are going to be ones that you might make if you made a calculation error. You missed a negative. You multiplied instead of took an exponent. So all those little mistakes are things you want to correct in practice. And I encourage you to practice these questions on your own without a video at least once before the final exam, so you really have a sense of what you need to work on, and come to class ready to ask questions on anything that was confusing. Thanks, and good luck. Make sure we get this all the way in the shot. There we go.